This evening, we take a closer look at the Namibia Young Generation in Nuclear, commonly known as NAMYGN, a dynamic, youth-driven platform committed to advancing nuclear science, energy knowledge, and safety awareness in Namibia. Now, as the country explores nuclear technology for climate action, energy security, and sustainable development, NAMYGN is stepping forward to build skills, shape public understanding, and prepare the next generation for opportunities in nuclear innovation. From radiation safety and clean energy advocacy to research, capacity building, and community outreach, NAMYGN is positioning young Namibians at the center of the nation's future nuclear journey. We're now joined by Nobel Eiaseb, founder and initiator of NAMYGN. Very good evening to you. Welcome to Daily Roundup.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
Absolute pleasure to be having you. Talk to us about the background first of what actually inspired you to, create NAMYGN.
So the idea of NAMYGN actually came. I had recently participated in a regional nuclear expo that was actually funded by the Chevening Alumni Network, which Ms. Njala had gotten through a grant. So I had participated in a week-long countrywide expo, and I had noticed that it was not enough for us to actually just do a awareness raising just for learners and only for 1 week. So what I then realized is that we need actually a prolonged period, and also to have a chapter that is actually speaking for the Namibian youth and actually can be used and be cascaded down to other areas. So that is how the idea actually came about.
Interesting. And now the core mission of NAMYGN, why is it important to create youth-driven platforms for nuclear science and technology in the country?
So the idea of NAMYGN is that we want to develop and mentor young professionals, because what we are realizing is that Namibia is at the forefront. It's a big producer of uranium. Right. However, we are lacking behind in the global industry for nuclear. So what we then see is that we have a skills gap. So what is important is that we don't want to find ourselves in creating a nuclear sector and then finding ourselves that we have a lack of human capital that is capacitated and skilled to actually take this industry over. So the NAMYGN comes in there. So the other idea is also to create some sort of synergy between academia, between stakeholders, relevant stakeholders, institutions such as now your institutions of higher learning, and creating that synergy so that we are able to actually speak one language.
Very well. And how does NAMYGN actually plan then to position Namibia as a future leader in nuclear innovation, especially looking at climate solutions and energy security? Those are topics that are being spoken about on a daily basis. Yeah.
Yes. So what is important is to understand that we need to demystify this thing that is called nuclear, because currently we are having our vision 2030 and our NDP6 is speaking to our people and our institutions which need to be capacitated so that we are able to eradicate poverty and also to reduce youth unemployment. So NAMYGN comes in this area. So a key area that we are looking at is creating awareness, demystifying nuclear science and technology, and also to understand
when you talk about demystifying nuclear energy, just expand a bit on that.
So when we are talking about demystifying, it's like there are so many myths about nuclear energy or nuclear basically, because every time a person basically hears about nuclear, they just think about the bombs or basically about the nuclear power plants. So what we want to then do is we want to actually build awareness from the grassroots. We want learners to understand. We want parents to be able to speak about these things at home, and we want to break the taboo that nuclear is just about something that is sinister. So we want people to understand that nuclear can be used in the agricultural applications. It can be used in the health sector. It can be used in water. We have problems of water scarcity issues. Right. So solutions such as isotopic hydrogeology. These are important things that nuclear science and technology brings in. Another thing that one looks at is that when we are having food scarcity issues that we are faced with. So we have monitoring abilities. We have ways to look underground in the water sources and so forth. So we want to demystify. We want people to understand that nuclear is actually the way to go.
And if you talk about the role that NAMYGN is actually then trying to play in preparing young people for careers in nuclear science, radiation protection, energy planning, small modular reactor technologies. But before that, I think perhaps explain to us if there is an interest, in fact, in young people actually taking up this course as in the nuclear space, or rather energy sector, from the nuclear perspective? Yeah.
So just briefly before I get there, our president is very clear. We want to have our minerals beneficiated within our country. We want to ensure that our resources are actually able to feed our people, and we want to bring back our industry. So that is the first point. So if we come back to that point, what we're trying to say is, when we did the regional expo, which was something that was very important and a very great initiative by the Chevening Alumni Program, is that the interest that we got was so high. We had various learners doing various projects, but the amount of initiative and creativity that went into those projects, and the teachers that we met and the regional officials that were actually capacitated to meet, were very interested in creating long-term relationships with us. So with that also brings me back to the aspect of I didn't want to leave an initiative like that to be only for 1 week. So we wanted to create avenues where we can actually prolong this and actually have it continuous, so as to ensure that interest is actually ensured. And also we are seeing that this industry is an industry that needs expertise and specialization, and we are currently in a place where we are just importing knowledge, and then we have a high unemployment rate up amongst our youth. Yeah. We have a lot of graduates that are on the street. We can use these graduates in those aspects, so the interest is high.
So talk to us then about what needs to be done for us to actually then start harnessing this the sector, not only from academics perspective, but even practicing it, in reality, as far as Namibia's economy, or rather resources, are concerned. What actually needs to be done for us to actually start then moving towards what you are trying to, of course, achieve then, as far as nuclear is concerned?
Okay, so the first thing that is a stumbling block for us currently is that nuclear is having too many myths. So public awareness, breaking and demystifying that. That is the first point of action. And then also creating sort of relationships between the learners and whether that is now the institutions of higher learning or partners or institutions of research and so forth. And also being able to bring in funding so that we have research and development. Another aspect that we need to do is we need to have a prolonged period where we have actually go in depth and throughout the whole country and reach remote areas so that we are able to understand what are the real fears that the people are facing, because you don't just start fearing something out of the blue. What we want to do is we want to understand, because it's context specific. So what we want to do is we want to resolve those context specific issues and myths, and we want to demystify those. So that's an aspect on its own. And then also funding is another issue that we are faced with. And if we were to, for example, as our president hopes to have mineral beneficiation within our country, and if we are to actually benefit from being the third largest producer of uranium, we are actually able to fund our own people. We are able to actually create a strong, expert, skilled workforce and create a human capital workforce and a pool for our future nuclear industry. So that is when Namibian Young Generation in nuclear comes in.
Absolutely, and we of course still have then to go through the policies and all that needs to be broken down. And that, in speaking about how NAMYGN actually supports the implementation of Namibia's Atomic Energy and Radiation Protection Act and its alignment to with the International Atomic Energy Agency standards. What are some of the ways you're trying to break that, or actually bring that space as a conversation to then move into the direction you're trying to?
I'm actually privileged to be serving on the National Nuclear Science and Technology Conference Organizing Committee currently. So with that, the Act 5 of 2005 that is currently in place, right, is I understand, and we are in the process of having a nuclear bill that they are busy with implementation and so forth. So if we are looking at this, what NAMYGN needs to do is we need to be a catalyst in this process. We need to be able to support systems. So we need to be the peer-to-peers that are bringing in the young people, that are bringing in the youth, that are bringing in the experts from the field. So if you would, for example, look at how we have structured our board, it's very, very important to understand that we have taken people from varied ages, varied expertise, and varied levels of experience. So that is how we understand. So if you want to cascade down and understand the regulations and how it actually fits into the bigger future of bigger picture of Namibia's nuclear sector, it is important to understand that NAMYGN is there to be a supporting and a catalyst to this act.
Absolutely. Going forward, what are some of the activities that you are going to be doing, of course, ahead then of what is going to be the awareness of public awareness program that you are going to be hosting to then address the misconceptions about nuclear energy?
Okay, so the first things that we do is, because we have to follow international standards, so we are in conversations with the international partners, we're in conversations with African partners, and we are also busy with our local partners on the ground. So the first thing that you need to understand is there are rules and regulations that are attached to this sort of chapters, because this is just a Namibian chapter that is falling under the African chapter that falls under the international chapter. So there are certain things and certain procedures that we follow. So the first point of action is that we have appointed a board, and the board inception will be in December, and that where we will have the constitution, we will refine the constitution, get our logos in order, and then also finalize of our registration and so forth. And then thereafter, it would we need to have an awareness campaign that reaches schools, that reaches students, that reaches the traditional authorities, because you don't just want to teach the learners and then they go home and then there's a situation where what you are telling your parents is not making sense. So we want to have it a cascading down. We want actually grassroots. We want the people to understand on the ground, so that the conversation of nuclear starts under the tree.
Absolutely.
That starts at the crawl and so forth.
Absolutely. Well, Noble, thank you so much for being here. Quite an interesting conversation brought to us this evening. Of course, wish you all the best and hope to speak to you in the future.
Thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely. Noble Eiaseb, founder and initiator of NAMYGN, speaking to us about, of course, what is going to be the Namibia Young Generation in Nuclear, commonly known as NAMYGN. This is the Daily Roundup on NBC. We'll be right back.